rules to follow throughout the whole duration of this national training workshop. One, the opening of camera is recommended. Two, always mute your microphone. Three, use headphones or earphones. Four, find a seat or location that is comfortable and well lighted. Five, it is advised to wear business or smart casual attire. Six, finish the whole virtual training or training workshop for you and complete the evaluation form for you to get your certificate. And seven, always direct your concern through personally message or PM on our page or our email address so we can provide answer to your concern. For the flow of our national training workshop, on our day one, we will have a topic, qualitative research method, collecting evidence, crafting analyses, and communicating impact from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. For our Saturday session, we also have one allocated topic on educational research, conducting and evaluating quantitative and qualitative research from 10 to 12 noon. So we have here a change in our schedule basically because of a conflict in the case of our speaker for this Saturday. Thus, I would like you to connive with us if we are to transfer the talk of our second speaker on our Sunday session. Okay? Now, and on our last session on Sunday, we will have a topic, action research for educators, participative inquiry and practice from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and case study as qualitative research, its design and methodologies from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We are presently viewed on different social media platforms. We are presently live here in Zoom, in Facebook at the official page of PICE I-21, and in YouTube at the official channel of POMI. I am Mr. Jose Brian Casella, the Vice President of PICE I-21, your virtual host and moderator for this event. Welcome to another virtual gathering sponsored by the Philippine Institute of 21st Century Educators Incorporated, or PICE I-21. This is in collaboration with 12 other professional organizations. This month's National Training Workshop is also our last offering for the year 2021. If you notice, we only collected a less expensive registration fee for our 3-day event as our way of saying thank you for your continued support to the PICE I-21 and all our affiliated professional organizations. It is known to most of us that designing a study is a difficult and a time-consuming process. In the past years also, research approaches have multiplied to a point at which investigators or inquirers have many choices. To help us remain updated and be familiar of the innovations in the field of research, the PICE I-21 decided to continue having this national training workshop on educational research for the 21st century researchers and educators. This event is designed for all educators in public and private elementary, secondary, and higher educational institutions. I am happy to see that we still have a great number of confirmed participants from different parts of the country. So, to formally start our first day, may I request everyone to be in silence for the prayer. Let's put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Lord, we offer everything to you in this event. Today, we will be starting this national training workshop, and we want to thank you, Lord, for all the blessings we have received this far. May you guide our speakers so that they would be able to effectively impart their God-given wisdom to all of us. May they be blessed as they continue to share their expertise to everyone who needs them. May you bless the participants so that they will be able to glean significant knowledge that they can apply at the end of this event. May you bless every one of us behind this activity. Continue to protect our nation and all our brothers and sisters, that we may be able to defeat this pandemic. Keep us safe, O Lord. We ask all of these in your mighty name. Amen. To formally welcome us in this 3-day event, let us have Professor Emijan P. Indonila Palmani, National President of PICE I-21, for her welcome remarks. Let us give her a virtual round of applause.
Hello! Magandang hapon po. Good afternoon sa ating lahat. My heart is now full of joy as I see your virtual presence this afternoon. Your support to the Philippine Institute of 21st Century Educators Incorporated gives us the motivation to strive harder to provide you, our beloved members, our co-21st century educators, quality webinars that will not just help us in our profession, but for our personal growth as well. With this, it is my honor to inform you that PICE 21 is now a PRC CPD provider. This has been made possible because of your support. Thank you so much. Expect that our organization will give you more quality webinars, seminars, and workshops from quality speakers as well. Just like what we have prepared for you this afternoon until Sunday, we will again update ourselves in the world of research, as it is one of the most important ingredients for our professional growth, not just for our promotion, but for quality teaching learning we can offer to our students, to our institution, to our country, and to the world. I will not keep my message longer. In behalf of the PICE 21 team, I, Mrs. Amijan and Dunila Palmani, your PICE I-21 National President, welcome you to our 3-day national training workshop on educational research for 21st century researchers and educators. Mabuhay po tayong lahat, and let us all keep on learning as we look for the good in everything. Thank you so much. Magandang hapon po.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the President of PICE I-21, Mrs. Emijan P. Indonila Palmani. Before I formally introduce to you our speaker, I would like everyone listening to the different platforms we have to effectively and responsibly use the chat function in raising your questions. You can write your questions or insights while our speaker is having his discussion, but expect it to be answered during the question and answer portion. We will be having the open forum after the speaker's presentation. And to those who would like to personally ask questions, you may also press the raise hand button and we will be notifying you ahead if you're recognized. During the open forum session, we will be forwarding to you a link from slido.com. You can scan the code or type the code for your questions to be catered. Thank you. So it's time for me now to introduce to you our speaker. Our speaker for this afternoon is no longer an unfamiliar face to most of our active members. He is presently the designated University Director for Knowledge and Technology Management, or KTM, of the Research, Development, and Extension of Cagayan State University in Tuguegarao City since 2018. And concurrently, the Campus Research Coordinator of Cagayan State University at LASAM. He is occupying the faculty rank of Associate Professor 3. He started charting his career as a private elementary school teacher at San Lorenzo Ruiz Educational Institute, private school head at LASAM Academy Incorporated, faculty of the School of Education, Arts and Sciences of the University of St. Louis in Tuguegarao, to a faculty and administrator of Cagayan State University. He has obtained his PhD in Educational Management at the age of 23 in 2013. Master of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management in 2011. BE Ed Generalist in 2010, and finished academic subjects for BS Ed English in 2013. He has published 29 research articles, indexed in Scopus, Clarivate Analytics, and ASEAN Citation Index or ACI journals. He has an H index of 6 and I-10 index of 3. Our speaker is also a seasoned presenter. He has presented researches in various international, national, and regional research conferences and symposia, and was awarded Best Research Presenter and Best Research Paper Awardee. He was awarded Distinguished Faculty Researcher in the Social Science category of Cagayan State University. He presently serves as editor and reviewer of various SSCI Web of Science Index and Scopus Elsevier journals, such as International Journal of Learning, Teaching, and Educational Research, Sage Open, article editor and reviewer. Journal of Technology and Science Education, Studies of Applied Economics, as guest editor for Economics of Education, Eurasian Journal of Educational Research, Journal of Social Studies in Education Research, and Asia Pacific Journal of Multidisciplinary Research. He also co-authored 5 books, namely Research Methodology in Quantitative and Qualitative, a practical guide for researchers from gaps identification to publication. How to conduct action research in education. The teacher and community, school culture and organizational leadership. How to write and publish your thesis, and how to write and publish your dissertation. He has engaged also in externally and institutionally funded research projects of the Cagayan State University in collaboration with the government's different agencies, such as the Department of Science and Technology and the Department of Agriculture. He is an associate member of the National Research Council of the Philippines, or NRCP, under Division 1 on Governmental, Educational, and International Policies, and was conferred as a Fellow of the Royal Institute of Educators, Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Gilbert C. Magulo Jr., PhD, LPT, FRI, EDR. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon, everyone. To our participants from the different regions of the country, magandang gabi po, no? In our language, naimbag nga malem or naimbag nga rabii kada tayo amin. Of course, we have here the different participants. Now, let me share my slides. To the president, Professor Palmani, the organizers headed by Professor Kibinko. Of course, thank you very much, Professor Jose Abrian Casella, for introducing me for that kind introduction. The topic I will be discussing this afternoon is on the qualitative research method, collecting evidence, crafting analyses, and communicating the impact. I have been a resident speaker of FICE 1, and I have been talking much of research topics, and this afternoon is somewhat different because we will be focusing on the qualitative research methodology. Now, let me begin my presentation with the challenges and rigors of qualitative research. And of course, all of you can testify that when you talk of qualitative research, this is the research which is less traveled by Filipino scholars, no, by researchers. It's not that much appealing for many Filipinos, but of course, we cannot do a research, no, unless there should always be rigors and challenges. So qualitative research has these challenges and rigors. First is it is somewhat time consuming, which is really true. Second, it is a qualitative research because you do not include large numbers of participants but you only include the small scale. You only include few. Another challenge is the record keeping, because when we do qualitative research, we are really required to do the detailed process of record keeping. Another is the access to samples may be hard to do, especially if you are doing research or kinds of research where it involves ethnographic research, ethnographic concepts. Another is data reduction, because what is difficult in qualitative research is you've got so many descriptions, you've got so many pictures, you've got so many interpretations. So it's a matter for the researcher to do how to reduce the data and come up with a better shape of a research. Next one is, it is also a challenge that when one is doing a qualitative research, the researcher acts as the interpreter. The researcher acts as the one who is putting into writing the stories of people, the experiences of people, and their journeys about life. And lastly, the challenge, and of course a rigor, is trustworthiness, because the word trust is there, and of course the credibility of writing a concept coming from the stories of people. They will not tell you their stories unless you are worth trusting individual. So according to Wendy Newman in 2017, stories give life to data, and data gives authority to stories. We are challenged, or somewhat not combining really qualitative to quantitative research methodology designs, because we see qualitative research as somewhat difficult to do. But I hope with this presentation I have this afternoon will provide you insights that you will be able to appreciate the beauty of qualitative research. For qualitative research design, when one is doing a qualitative research, you are looking at the value and depth of meaning of people's subjective experiences and their meaning-making processes. You can document their feelings, you can document their experiences, and you can dig deeper to what is all about a reality for them. These approaches allow us to build a robust understanding of a topic and unpacking the meanings people ascribe to their lives, particularly if you are doing research focusing on the activities of a group of people, their situations, circumstances, people, and of course, objects. Studies that can relate to the lives of those commercial sex workers, lives of those COVID positive, their experiences when they were quarantined. These are stories that only few people have experienced, but it is something that is worthy to be shared, to be read, and to be known by many. Methodologically, qualitative research design, having approaches rely on inductive designs, aim really in generating what is the meaning of that data behind that, and producing rich and descriptive data. For quantitative research, we are used to deal with numerical figures. We are used to deal with how we can quantify a certain thing based on its physical attributes. But for qualitative research, we are answering the question how, and at the same time, we are answering the question why. So it is more on digging deeper to a problem of inquiry. The qualitative paradigm is extremely diverse and methodologically and theoretically. Because when one is doing a qualitative research, that researcher must be able to understand that there are processes and methods, and there are actually theories that should guide that type of a research. I'm showing to you a sample of statement of the problem written in qualitative research design. And let's try to look at how this research problem becomes qualitative in its nature. The aim of this study is to understand and describe middle school students' perspectives on anti-bullying program X. Looking alone at the general statement, we can see that there are already adjectives and verbs that are actually somewhat not that measurable. No, to understand, to describe, and to capture students' perspectives is somewhat qualitative in its nature. And for research question 1, what kinds of bullying did students experience or witness before program X? Research question 2, what did students think of a program X and why? And research question 3, how, if at all, do students think program X has affected bullying in their school? Framing this question is actually qualitative in its nature because we are trying to explore deeper on the understanding, on the insights, on the feelings, and on the perspectives of these students, of these respondents. It becomes qualitative in its nature because it gives more in-depth meaning to the experiences. Because each of us has a story to tell, each of us has something to share, and each of us has the different perspective over the realities we are experiencing. And this could be a matter that can be documented if we are doing a qualitative research. Moving on. Now, when we talk of a qualitative research, no, we are guided with the philosophies. Meron po tayong filosofiya dyan. Meron po tayong pinagbabatayan. If our research is not something that is worthy or something that has bearing or has bearing to science. Qualitative research centers on the holistic approach to the research process, whereby the choices in choosing a method for a qualitative research are informed by the philosophical belief system. A qualitative philosophical statement provides a discussion of the paradigm or the worldview guiding the research project, research proposal, research output you would like to pursue. No, because sometimes the value of qualitative research when we are doing educational research is not that much given emphasis. No, sometimes we are doing research. We are really more on quantitative. We measure the pre-test post-test performance of the students. We measure the students' reading competencies using a numerical instrument. But behind that intervention you are introducing to students, have you ever questioned or have you ever realized that there are stories or experiences that the students already experienced, no, during the implementation of a certain intervention, which was not documented, which was not become a part of that research? So what addresses the qualitative research is it focuses on the matter that if a certain intervention is effective or not, you need also to capture the experiences, the insights, the perceptions of the students that came from their own personal encounter over to a certain teaching strategy, teaching practices, or an intervention. Now, for the philosophies of qualitative research, I am presenting to you here a figure wherein there are paradigms, theoretical, school, and the focus. The first is the interpretative or the constructivist one. No? The theoretical school there is symbolic interaction, because if you are doing a qualitative research, you focus on the individuals or group of people who have shared symbols during the interaction to communicate the meaning. It can be attributed to how they can they react to a certain strategies, their certain intervention, or how they could respond to a certain policy. So this could eventually a matter of symbolic interactionism as a theoretical underpin or a theoretical background of a certain qualitative research. The other one, if you are interested to capture or to document the lived experiences of people, particularly those who are COVID victims or COVID patients, no, you can do a phenomenology study and you will focus how this individual experience. What are their experiences, particularly those people who are suffering from tuberculosis, suffering from the life experience of a cancer patient, the life experience of a tricycle driver, or the life experiences of a sex commercial workers. So it depends upon how you will be able to employ a method, a philosophy for that qualitative research. The third one is focusing on the ethnomethodology, wherein the focus will be the strategies people use to negotiate meanings based on their own interaction, particularly on the studies focusing on our indigenous brothers and sisters, about their beliefs and practices, about their zoological beliefs, about their meanings, their shared meanings in their community, wherein your theoretical perspective would be ethnomethodology. The other one is dramaturgy, where people's presentation of self in front and back stages of a social life. It's a way to document how people will be able to you see them at front and what are the stories behind them. The other one is postmodernism, which is a dominant ideologies and symbols and discourses of powers. And for post-structuralism as a theoretical school, it focuses on the constructing the unified narratives to expose how dominant ideology works. There are also qualitative research which are indigenous in its nature, wherein the focus will be on the research practices and value of that indigenous knowledge, that practices. For critical race, focusing on the injustices and differences based on the race. This could be a good topic for a qualitative research. There are also studies focusing on the lived experiences and the experiences of the LGBTQ++. It could be the queer, on the injustices and differences based on their sexual orientation and identity. And of course, feminist, which is all about the injustices and difference based on sex and gender. So what I am presenting to you are the philosophies of qualitative research. And what I would like to emphasize this time is if you will be doing qualitative research, you must be able to identify which philosophy of qualitative research you are going to use. Okay, so moving on. Let's try to look at the genre and the design and methods of data collection when we talk of qualitative research. The first one here is a field research methodology data collection, or they call it simply as that ethnographic research. So ethnographic research is a kind of a qualitative research wherein it is the oldest qualitative genre and it's rooted in its cultural anthropology. The terms field research and ethnography are often used interchangeably in the literature. However, they have slight different meanings. Now, when one is interested to do an ethnographic research, you focus on the culture of people. For teachers here who are listening them as teachers, there are already studies or teachers in that ed are encouraged to write instructional materials focusing on the culture of these children because they have the subject on mother tongue. Then the way how we could develop a book for mother tongue is also a significant part of ethnography because we cannot write a mother tongue based book without knowing the culture of these people. Field research takes place also in natural settings and they are referred to as the field. Now, when one is interested to do an ethnographic research, for example, documenting the way of life of the Negritos or the Agtas in a certain community, a researcher can have, by gathering of data, a researcher can involve himself through non-participatory and fully participatory methods. So for non-participatory is that the researcher can go to that community to document, to observe, and the researcher is considering himself as the external observer. But when it is a fully participatory research design for ethnography or ethnographic research, you need to live with this group, document their culture, document their practices, beliefs, and their practices on their way of life. Then you go with them, you eat with them. It's a form of full participatory ethnographic research. Now, what does it mean with this? So if one is interested to document culture, when we talk of qualitative research, field research or ethnography is the most appropriate type of qualitative research when you collect data. So you can collect by way of observation, you can collect by way of recording, you can collect by way of taking pictures, but of course, when you talk of ethnographic research in the Philippine setting, you need to ask for a permit coming from that national National Indigenous Commission, that organization, that government instrumentality should give you a permit for you to conduct a study about this culture of these people. Okay, so next one is another method is doing an interview, where there are numerous interview methods available for qualitative researchers. It could also be done by way of in-depth interview or face-to-face, or in our present context, present situation now, it is done with Zoom or Skype or Messenger. No, but when you talk of in-depth interview, there's really a difference between a face-to-face interview and of course an interview through Zoom, because when you talk of qualitative research at you are gathering a data, no, ang titignan natin doon is how you as a researcher is capable to probe that informant through your physical presence. No, kasi iba rin po yung digital presence at iba rin po yung physical presence. And of course, doing interview through semi-structured one, oral history of life, history, biographic, minimalist, and focus groups in which multiple participants are interviewed at once in a group. So for qualitative research, no, sometimes we get the transcripts of interview, we record them, no, we try to transcribe them, and there are actually tools that you can use, no, to record the interviews. There are available in technological tools now in the internet that these tools can aid you to record, no, the responses of these informants. The other method of data collection is by way of doing unobtrusive methods, or simply that content analysis. Content analysis or document analysis is a method for systematically investigating the text. Some refer to the content analysis as a way of studying documented human communications. Now, for qualitative researchers, the use of content analysis is for them to understand the meanings that circulate in the text. That qualitative researchers use grounded theory to develop concepts and ideas that directly emerge from the data. Now, there are other methods of doing content analysis. Okay, other methods of researches is that meron din silang tinatawag na putting the pictures as a data gathering of qualitative research. They get pictures, they analyze it. No, they even analyze the speeches of the president, the pragmatic and discourse analysis. It is also more on the language researchers. No, sa mga language researchers natin ngayon, they know how to use this content analysis based from the text, and they analyze it. Okay, and of course, aside from these general methods of data collection, we need also to be informed that there are also sampling, participants, and setting for a qualitative research. And sampling as part of a research gives credibility to the quality of the qualitative research we are doing. An overview of the sampling procedure that qualitative researchers commonly use follows here. First, a sampling known as snowball sampling. Okay, or for example, a participant leads to the selection of another participant. A certain study has been conducted about the ambivalence of kulang, for example, which is a problem of inquiry, is that getting an information if that person identifies or qualifies himself having the characteristics of that kind of a sorcerer, no, perhaps you can interview that person, and after interviewing, that person can also refer you to another person whom they have shared similarities. So snowball sampling po ang tawag natin doon, wherein you get one participant and tanungin mo ngayon sa participant, o tapos na interview na kita ngayon, may kilala ka ba na katulad mo? And he will direct you to the next participant. So we call this as snowball sampling process. For the convenience sampling, it is more on the accessibility when we talk of qualitative research, and it is more on the people, for the researcher to have easier access to the data. So there are studies that are qualitative in its nature that is more on the use of the convenience sampling. It should be convenience sampling. The other one is a quota sampling, where there are relevant characteristics and you try to get them as sample of that respondents. And for the other is, if you try to use two-phase sampling procedure for a qualitative research, we can term it as mixed sampling strategies. So though the challenge for a qualitative research is there, that it is time consuming, but you think of the end goal of your research. You would like to do a research for qualitative research. Another is on the online data gathering tools, that the existing and emerging technology tools enable the collection of multimodal data. For example, for qualitative research, data can come from textual, coming from the text, data coming from visual, oral, spatial, and even temporal. Given many of these tools were originally developed for other purposes, there is still much to be learned how they can be used in qualitative research. What you can see in this slide are the iPhones, the cell phones, or iPads that are commonly used in research. However, an understanding of how they are used by individual researchers as qualitative data collection devices is not that well known. And during the advent of this COVID-19, we have no choice. If we are doing qualitative research, we are really required to use cell phones or video photo documentation or video documentation to get data. And the integration of the following apps are being used in the instance to support data collection storage, can be during your PhD coursework, during data gathering, or during your whatever kinds of research you are doing. So there are software applications for one to be used to gather qualitative data. For example, if you are more on the interviews to the respondents, you can use software applications such as Dragon, Naturally Speaking, and developed by Nuance, a speech recognition software that uses voice to create and edit documents and capture thoughts and ideas, transcribe them directly to instantly visible text. So the life of a researcher becomes easy with the aid of technology. The other one is a quick voice. I hope you can get this software later on the internet. Some are with subscription fee, and some are free. For quick voice, developed by Infinity Incorporated to record interviews, meetings, voice memos, or dictations or lectures. So you use the application and you are interviewing an individual. No, there's no much difference with the use of a tape recorder noon, kasi ngayon it's more on the software. The other one is a dicta droid, developed by SoftAid to record interviews, voice dictations, or other audio for sharing. So these are some of the data gathering tools during interviews. But remember that when you are using tool for your qualitative research, you must be able to come up with an evaluation criteria. No? Of course, consider what platform are you going to use when you do qualitative research, what audio formats. For a researcher, you consider the ease of use of that tool, file transfer or sharing, the sound quality, the speech to text accuracy, because that is important. And of course, if there are additional features and functions. And for using online data gathering tools, it is always a cost. Now, if you go back to the traditional process of gathering data through qualitative, you go to the field, you go to the community, you live with that community, you live with that respondent in order to document. So some would question which is more reliable. Is it the use of technology or the actual gathering or going to that community? The only consideration there is if you have the permit to have access or to go with that community, go with them. But if you don't have, due to restrictions, there are alternatives like using technological tools available in the internet or available in your software. Okay, so for qualitative data collection tools, there are tools that can be used for online fora, for group discussion. You can also do web survey chat, online communities, or through in-depth interviews through Zoom, Skype, Messenger, or what other forms of online tools we have. But of course, the only reminder for everyone is when we do a research, see to it that we are getting the actual or the reliable and of course the realistic data coming from our informants or coming from our respondents. Now, there are types of qualitative research design, and with this, Alan Trent defined analyzing the data for qualitative as somewhat summarizing and organizing the data. So it's just like you suppose that you have a research project already funded, you already come up with all the preliminaries, and you go to the field to get the data. You have already talked with the people, the authorities, for you to gather the data. Now, for you to do an analysis, you must be able to do summarizing and organizing the data you have, and interpretation as finding or making meaning. These phases may blur because analysis and interpretation are often a recursive process. Tama po yan. With analysis leading to interpretation, leading to analysis, and leading to interpretation, leading to analysis. That's why ito yung sasabi natin, very time-consuming ang paggawa ng qualitative research because doon na sa atin na na-transcribe na yung data, we are still given the chance to go back to that community or to that group and let them check, let them see, validate if yun talaga yung sinulat or yun talaga yung sinabi nila ay yun talaga yung naisulat. And for the sake of clarity, the general phases of analysis and interpretation include for qualitative research design is that Data preparation and organization. 5 po ito. So kung may data ka, you prepare and organize the data. Pwede po yan sa Excel. Second, you do an initial immersion. No? Familiarize yourself as a researcher. Next, you code it. Fourth, you categorize and you theme it. And fifth, you do the interpretation. So kaya nasasabi natin kung konti yung gagawa ng research to qualitative kasi talagang matrabaho siya. But what is good for qualitative research is you do not need to get hundreds or thousands of respondents. Kung may 5 kang respondents, okay na yon. No? Kung meron kang 8, okay na yon. Now, for qualitative analysis and interpretation strategy, number 1 is data preparation and organization. Depending on the kind of data you have generated, you will need to transcribe the data. And transcribing interview recordings or even scanning them, if you have historical documents, like you are documenting the points 30 years or 50 years back, no, analyzing the different themes of a poem or whatsoever there, then there is a need for you to transcribe the data. And the data should be organized in a repository for easy access. It's up to you as a researcher on where will you store the data. But of course, when you store the data, see to it that when you open it again, you will be able to know where and how you can or you access the data or you can get the data. So remember, you should have backups for all your files. Because qualitative research produces a wealth of data, you will also need to sort the data for analysis as part of the organizational process. Okay, so ito po yung rigors ng qualitative research natin. Second, is there a need for the researcher to immerse himself about the data? Because immersion, when one is doing qualitative research, immersion helps you to feel the pulse of the data. It is easy to lose sight of the big picture to daily grind of data collection and then data preparation. Second, through immersion, it will help you as a researcher to develop your initial ideas. Example, during the review of the data, you take brief notes about your thoughts, ideas, and points for which you want to remind yourself. And that is a way for you to develop your initial ideas. And the third one is you are likely working with extensive amount of data and you need to do initial exploration so that you may begin data reduction. The third one is also the coding process. When we get the data, the responses coming from the students, we put this one or we encode this into Excel or in MS Word. No, we put them into writing. Coding is the process of assigning a word or phrase to segments of the data. The code selected should summarize or capture the essence of that segment of data. And coding may be done by hand, through you, or using a computer-assisted software called CACDAS. And that CACDAS is a computer-assisted qualitative data analysis software, and it is developed to help you code a data. Kahit po naman sa Excel lang din kayo gagawa, as long as you are capable to code the data personally, pwede rin po. And of course, you may even use a software called NVivo. And in a process of coding the responses of the respondents, there are 3 things wherein being used when coding. First, the in vivo coding. What is this in vivo coding? This study relies on using participants' exact language to generate the codes. So in vivo coding, you get the actual response of that respondent, and that is actually the statement to be coded. So in vivo coding. The other one is through the process of descriptive coding, where this strategy mainly uses nouns to summarize segments of data. So how it should be done. So it may be, for example, you try to ask the experience of a certain student during COVID-19 pandemic. Then through an object representation, he will present a broken branch, and he can or she can relate his or her story to that kind of broken branch. Then it's mainly use of using descriptive coding. And the other one is values coding, or the strategy focuses on conflicts, on the struggles or the power issues, or whatever the type of experiences, personal, physical, or experiences that respondent encountered. And we must be able to bear in mind that there is what we call data saturation, no? Particularly when we are also doing interview, no? When there is enough information to replicate the study. Meaning to say, if you are planning to have 15 respondents for a particular study, and you started from key informant number 1, moving to second, third, and fifth, and sixth, and they have similar experiences to share, meaning to say there's already a data saturation there. So there will be no more forthcoming concepts about that, because it's already a data saturated. So data saturated information. So you take it as part of the variable of the study. Now, so for example, in this coding is an interview transcript. I do not like looking in mirrors and feeling unattractive. I am a presenter and I would love to feel good about how I look. Part of what makes me suffer is the mismatch of how I feel, I look, and then the mirror's confrontation. In vivo coding, through qualitative research, ito yung lumabas. There is the feeling of dislike, mirrors, unattractive, presenter, suffer mismatch, how I feel, mirrors, confrontation. So these are actually the direct words that come from the mouth of that respondent. And for the descriptive coding, focusing on nouns, noun description, no? Here comes already the mirror as a representation of how he feels or how she feels, presenter, and mirror. But when we go to the values coding for qualitative research, we can identify that that respondent has dislikes feeling unattractive. Appearance for her is important to her job. A matter of suffers with mismatch between how looks and feels, or mirror confrontation. Now, this is actually an example on how we code the responses coming from our key informants when we are doing qualitative research. But strategy po yan ng researcher kung ano yung gagamitin niya na nakabase sa philosophical orientation ng kanyang qualitative research. So it's either the researcher may use in vivo coding, descriptive coding, or values coding. This is an example of coding based on the responses of students. And as you can see, they have the comments on a certain subject. For education po ito, no? Other comments, talk about your experience in your most recent statistics course and experience. How would you summarize or explain your class? So as you can see, the coding is that, for example, for number 2, there's a code for anxiety. For participant number 6, there's a code for number 1. So you try to get all the codings together, you try to code the responses, then you group them and cluster them together. You cluster them. Okay? And after coding, here comes now your categorizing and theming. Categorizing is a process of grouping similar or seemingly related codes together. That's according to Saldana in 2014. And as you work with your coded data, you may also engage in the process of theming the data. The question is, as you study your codes and categories, what themes emerge? So differing from the short codes, a theme may be an extended phrase or sentence that signals the larger meaning behind our code or group of codes. So for qualitative research, categorizing and theming is the work of the researcher himself. Okay, and of course you can ask also assistance from other experts or other people, and people can help you categorize and theme them. Now, we have also a thematic analysis here where there are steps for you on how you will do theming or thematic analysis for your qualitative research data. So identify and familiarize with the data, identify the codes, find themes in the data, finalize the themes, review each theme, then later on document the analysis. And that's actually now the analyzing and knowing the patterns or drawing the inferences as part of that research finding. Okay, now how do I do a thematic analysis? Again, you first do a transcription, transcribe it, write it out. Second, you familiarize yourself with it. Third, you code it, then you categorize it. After categorizing it, you theme it, and you write examples to illustrate the themes and writing a report. That's going now to the process of publication later. Okay. Another suggestion we talk of qualitative research is the interpretation, and it addresses the question, so what? How do you make sense of what you have learned? What does it all mean? So you already get the theme, you already get the categories. Your work now as a researcher is to interpret it. Remember, the data are become useless or futile if they were not properly interpreted or they were not put into a matter of communication. But remember that when we interpret, we also use the concept of triangulation, and it is commonly used strategy for using multiple methods or sources of data to address the same question. And triangulation must be part of how you interpret the qualitative data. The first one is theoretical triangulation. One can do a theoretical triangulation by looking at the data through more than one theoretical lens in order to allow the different interpretations to emerge. And the second one is the investigator triangulation, which refers to having two or more researchers study the same topic and compare their findings. So as to the process of interpretation for qualitative research, it is up for the researcher of what to follow, whether theoretical triangulation or investigator triangulation. Okay, and of course, a part of a qualitative research when you have already the data is the evaluation. A qualitative study can be evaluated based on the thoroughness and congruence. The thoroughness refers to the comprehensiveness of the projects or research components, which include the adequacy of sampling, the process of data collection, and getting the representation. And of course, for congruence, refers to how the researcher used various components of the research that fit together, including fitting between the questions. Is the questions answered by the methods? And if the methods answered or addressed by the findings. So, ang qualitative research po we try to look how thorough and how congruent it is. No? So, the fit between your project and the previous research on the topic are important factors to evaluate the quality of your qualitative research. Okay? Now, I'm moving on now to the process of communicating the impact of your qualitative research. Remember that even when we do a research having few samples, as long as we use qualitative research, it is guided with the essence of science. In data gathering, we need to draft, polish, and publish it. For example, a certain study about the experiences of those people who were COVID victims or COVID patients. No, their stories can be documented by interviewing them. And when we communicate the impact of a qualitative research, it could be a way for the policy makers, policy-making bodies, regulatory bodies, for them to be informed of the services they provided to these people. So remember that for qualitative research, as long as our goal there is to communicate the impact of our research, we need to make it rich, luminous, and thick in its representations. We should be able to structure the article based on an IMRAD format, or if we would like to publish our research outputs, dapat po naka-IMRAD yan. IMRAD stands for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. And we try to format the qualitative work, especially in the findings or the results and discussion section, where the responses were easily seen, easily captured in that specific study. And of course, the visual representations and the art. Remember that when we write a research, it is based also on how we present the information, and it's up for the researcher to present, to communicate the findings, no, with art or with science and art. So somewhat qualitative research should be able to be the basis of policy enhancement, service improvement, understanding how we can implement better policies for our community. Okay, and of course, again, I am also showing you that when we do a qualitative research, we are always guided with the literature review. And this is what I am always emphasizing, that, for example, if one is interested to use ethnographic research, you can do a visit to Google Scholar for you to understand how an ethnographic research can be implemented or can be used in a certain situation or certain problem of inquiry. Okay, so other references can also be viewed through the open access journals. You can identify which specific qualitative research method you would like to use, then search it in the internet, search it in the Google Access. Even in Semantic Scholar, now what's good with Semantic Scholar is you also get information from this database wherein you are already provided with link information about the topic. Okay, now I am showing to you a research method canvas for your specific method of research. Okay. If one is interested to do a research for qualitative, this is what I can suggest you to do. Come up with a canvas of your research methodology, particularly when it is qualitative in its nature. So canvas is just an outline of your methodology, and try to go to the respected databases, find out what are new to what is not new about that method, familiarize yourself to that method so that you will be able to execute it properly. So in the canvas, you can see a sample title, no, a title, the keywords or references, then there will be introduction. I-canvas po ninyo, ilagyan po nyo ng canvas or outlinein po ninyo yung mga researches ninyo. Then for qualitative research, is that it is not actual hypothesis, pero ang pwede rin po nyong ilagay yan is assumptions. Then the research design. Then the respondents of your study and sampling. What will be your instrumentation, whether video documentation or interview, the ethical consideration, the process of gathering data, or if not a statistical tool, data analysis for qualitative research. So I am suggesting you that if you are interested to do a qualitative research, you can follow this research methodology canvas. Okay, moving on. So remember also that when you try to communicate the impact of your research, we again review on how you cite the references. So for one author, it can be written in the in-text as Jonas 2051 or Jonas close and open parenthesis 2015, I should say. Then two authors, Olikino, Abasolo, and Zamora. These are basics po, but somewhat yung mga nakikita natin kasi na paper, no, hindi po yan kasi makakommunicate ang impact ng research niyo kung hindi nyo pa kasi ito napapublish at hindi pa kasi ito na-represent. So, a matter for you, no? Kung qualitative yung focus ng study niyo, do an initiative so that your paper should be published or should be presented. And in that way, the impact is communicated to the people, and that will be the basis for enhancement later on. For 3 or more authors, use et al. For several works by the same author published in the same year, Fox 2015A, 2015B, and for personal communication, Baril Personal Communication 2016. Okay? So if you wish to read more on the use of qualitative research, go to the book of Creswell and try to identify how the process should be properly executed. Okay, and for communicating the impact of your research, I have been invited to review a certain research by a Q1 Scopus journal. And I with permission, I got the evaluation form, and I'm presenting this to you so that you will be immersed on how you will package later on your qualitative research. So the International Journal of Instruction, kasi mostly naman sa inyo dito mga teachers po kayo, ito yung mga chine-checklist, chine-check ng mga reviewers kung papasa yung paper o hindi. So do you think the title is appropriate? Does the abstract summarize the article clearly and effectively? Are the objectives set clearly? Is the issue stated clearly? Is the literature review adequate? Ito po, is the design, the appropriate use of the design exemplary? Is the methodology consistent with the practice of what you did? Are the findings expressed clearly? If the presentation of the findings adequate and consistent? No? Are the tables, if any, arranged well? Kasi kung qualitative research naman po yan, maaring wala siyang table, pero the exact responses should be seen in the index. Are the conclusions and generalizations based on the findings? Are the suggestions meaningful, valid, and based on the findings? Most of all, are the references adequate? And is the language clear and understandable? Is cohesion achieved throughout the article? And most of all, whether quantity or qualitative research is the work contributing to the field. Whether you belong to education, engineering, you belong to IT, technology, or any kinds of specializations. Okay, so I hope this will provide you insights that doing qualitative research is a matter of a scientific endeavor. So kailangan po nating i-address ang mga ito para nang sa ganun ma-communicate yung impact ng ating studies. Okay? So in your data methods collection, remember, you need to give full details of the methods you use to conduct your research, the tools, the procedures, the materials you use, and the criteria you use to select the participants or sources. And you know, when you talk about research, we are talking about methodology, we're talking about science. See to it that our research methodology are scientific in its nature. Kahit po yan ay qualitative. Kahit 5 ang yung respondents or ang yung key informants, if you did this study in the scientific process, in a scientific manner, you will be able to get a truthful data. Okay, so again, I always emphasize this in my talk, that methodological review about the use of qualitative research is important. You will not become capable to execute a certain method of research if you do not have a review of your methods. So these are the reviews that summarizes the methodological issue and provide best practice recommendations. So as for me, for you to do better qualitative research method in your research, be able to do a methodological review so that you will be updated of what is new and what is not new about the method. You will be learning on the merits and demerits of using the method. Okay, so in other contexts, I'm also emphasizing that there are also framework of methodological review here when you do a qualitative research. No, you will be able to prepare a review of that, download articles as many as you can, then try to categorize the papers, try to code them, try to classify them, and that is actually another form of the publishable research format, which is actually a qualitative research on literature review. Okay, so there are also online tools for you to do methodological review like this, no? Google Scholar, LiveGen, Semantic, no? Sage Journals, Taylor, Elsevier, UCLA, Directory of Open Access Journals, PubMed, Philippine e-journals. The NRCP, or National Research Council of the Philippines, is giving universities free access to Elsevier. So your universities can write a letter addressed to NRCP para bigyan po ninyo kayo ng code para ma-access ninyo yung mga magagandang literature ng study na galing po sa Scopus Elsevier. So for those who are listening, school heads here, kahit po DepEd, no, pwede po kayong sumulat sa NRCP through the DOST to get the code. Bibigyan po nila kayo ng password for you to have access of the information. Okay, so other online tools that are free are the following: Louisiana State University, Electronic Thesis Dissertation at Virginia Tech, California Institute of Technology, North Carolina State University Libraries, University of Kentucky, Brigham Young University. Though it's qualitative in nature, one cannot do a research in qualitative unless one has the credible literature review. Okay, so what are other information I would like to share are some of the screenshots of these journal databases na pwede nyo pong puntahan: ZLive, Semantic Scholar, Sage Journals, Taylor and Francis, Elsevier, UCLA Library, Asian Development Bank, biocentral.com, of Director of Open Access Journals. If one is interested in economic research, okay, PNAS, SSN or SSRN, and of course, in the Philippine setting, the Philippine e-journals. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, mayroon po akong last na kwan, no? You can do a walkthrough session with this. For example, the given example here is on educational leadership and management, but I would like you to focus on the review of the method of your research. So you focus when you do a systematic review, kasi a systematic review of the research is more on a process of qualitative din po siya, no? Try to focus, go to Google Scholar, focus on the topographical reviews. If this study, this method of a qualitative research has been used, no? What country this has been used. So you look at the topographical reviews and capture studies about, for example, leadership and management in education. 3, analyze the full English language and literature in the Philippines. So madali lang pong gawin po ito, no? Later on, yung mga na-download yung article, ilagay nyo ito sa Google Scholar, ilagay nyo po itong mga to galing sa Google Scholar, ilagay nyo po ito sa Excel, then try to team the titles, team and categorize the researches. Okay, so pwede you can try this one as part of your walkthrough session. Is Google Scholar will show 10 sources per page, perform up to 100 pages of sources. Okay, then when a source was deemed relevant, please reference the full APA citation in the next page and download the PDF file. If the PDF file is not available, please indicate red font in the color reference list, and a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet will be shared to store data extracted from the sources. This will be given after the completion of steps 1 to 3 as above. So, pwede nyo pong i-perform ito nang sa ganon, you will be immersed of what is new and what are the developments in the problem of inquiry you would like to venture. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, example of doing a systematic review is this one. Okay? So, recording the identified databases, searching. For example, ang kanyang na-download is 11,316 articles about a certain method. Finilter po niya, no? Naging 5,946 na lang. And he was able to classify certain or definitely possible remain. Then he did a screening. Then along the process, the full text article assessed for eligibility, 152. Okay, then other criteria to be used, no? Ano yung mga studies na yon? Pwedeng randomized design, protocol paper, paper not in English. So it depends upon the criteria kung ano yung i-establish ng author na inclusion or exclusion. And later on, he will be able to come up with a research, they call it as literature review research or systematic review article about a certain topic, about a method, or about a variable of the study. Okay, so Prisma po ang ginamit kasi dito, Prisma. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event. Thank you very much po. Should you have questions to ask, we have still time, ample time for me to answer your questions. Maraming pong salamat.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Gilbert C. Magulo Jr. on his talk about qualitative research method, collecting evidence, crafting analysis, and communicating impact. Our session for this evening is allocated or only allocated for 2 hours. We will cater to as many questions as possible depending on the availability of our time. We will select questions raised by our participants here in Zoom and also in other social media platforms we have. And to those who will be tapped to ask questions, I would like you to introduce yourself first, the institution where you are affiliated with, and your question. So we encourage our session today to become as participative and interactive as possible. That's why I would like also our participants here to, if you have any question, to press the raise hand button so that your question will be prioritized compared to that of the others here appearing already in Zoom. Okay, so again, Dr. Magulod is one of our resident speakers here of PICE I-21. Kung titingnan po natin, napakarami na mga naituturo niya, but then sa palagian o sa bawat iba't ibang mga pinag-uusapan natin dito, palaging merong unique or bago sa mga itinuturo ni Dr. Magulod. Okay? So we have here questions actually appearing here in the chat function. And I think I will prioritize first the question from Ma'am Hanelin. Hello, Doc. This is Hanelin B. Paloma from Cebu Doctors University. One of the different types of coding, we have in vivo, descriptive, and values. Based on your personal experience, Doc, what is the usual method na masasabi mong easier or more ideal to be used? based on your experience, Doc. Thank you.
Okay, thank you po, Ma'am Hannelyn. Based on my experience, ang pinaka-common po is the in vivo coding. So it's a matter of getting the exact word, exact message from the respondent and interpret it in the article. So yun po yung ginagamit, and later on here after kasi may trend po tayo in discussing the presentation of the findings. So you put first the en toto, the response of the respondent, then to be followed by the inference and analysis by the researcher. Then after that, the backup on literature. So the most common po na ginagamit is on the in vivo coding of the responses.
Okay.
The other researchers naman are also doing the descriptive one, pero it's more on putting yung pangalanan mo kasi yung yung putting representation to their responses. So, but if one is interested to do qualitative research, mas maganda na po doon sa in vivo. Pero it depends upon the skill of the researcher of what to use. So, nasa sa inyo po yan. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Ma'am Hannelyn. Doc, what about the possibility of combining the three? Like the in vivo, the descriptive, and the values. Like, is it possible, Doc?
Yeah, Sir Ibrian, yeah, it's possible, pero you should bear in mind that you have the philosophy behind the use of your quali method. So kung gagamitin mo yung tatlo in the three codings in a single qualitative research design, then marahil sa philosophy of Kwan mo, baka papaiba na siya ng papuntahan. Baka instead of phenomenology, pwede na siyang mapunta sa ibang aspect of yes ma'am, ibang aspect ng Kwan. So the basic thing there to consider is what should be the emerging, yung pinaka-dominant na philosophy ng research mo. Para doon mo siya i-base.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Again, to those who would like to ask question but wanted to remain anonymous, you may go to slido.com and use hashtag 585355. We already have one participant here raising her hand. We have here Ma'am Flor de Lis Timbal. Ma'am, you are recognized. Again, I would like you to introduce yourself first, the institution where you're affiliated with, and your question. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening po, ma'am. Opo.
Okay.
Kumusta po
I'm
kayo?
Flor de Lis. Okay lang, sir. I'm Flor de Lis Yana Timbal from the Division of Dinagat Islands. Thank you for this opportunity to ask question from you, sir. My question, sir, is in conducting the individual interview. Then, for example, sir, we have there are 3 researchers. So, who's gonna be the sino pong magtatanong doon sa sir, sa respondent?
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay po. Thank you very much, ma'am. You are talking about the collaborative research and we talk of qualitative data gathering. For example, it's interview, tatlo kayong members ng isang research. Ma'am, you try also to consider if yung tatlo po kayo na mag-interview sa isang participant, would it not be something that has saturation on the level of the one you are interviewing? For example, ma'am, if in the individual interview, so isa lang siya individual kasi it's more on in-depth interview kung individual po siya eh. So kaharap mo siya, individual, kasi ang rigor kasi ng qualitative research is kung masyado kayong marami na mag-interview at mag-isa lang po siya na ini-interview, mahihiya po yon. Mahihiya po siyang, hindi po siya magiging open na sasabihin kung ano yung nararamdaman niya. Kaya when we talk of qualitative research, we talk also of the trustworthiness. So kahit meron naman po kayong video tape recording or meron naman po kayong recording tool, kahit isa na lang po ang mag-interview sa kanya so that mapalabas po ninyo yung experience niya, mapalabas po nyo yung something na story niya. Because I, for one, if I will be interviewed by a panel or three members, it's either I may not disclose the information na galing sa akin. So as a suggestion to you, ma'am, when you are doing qualitative research, kung ilan po yung respondent ninyo, kahit kahit isa na lang po doon, kasi ang part rin po ng after the interview is you also debrief the respondent. You're the informant. Kasi sasabihin mo sa kanya na the information you provided will be treated like this and it will be part of this. So, ide-debrief mo po siya eh. So, pwede na po yung isa na lang po sa inyo. Pero kung panel discussion or FGD po yung ginagamit ninyo dito or focus group discussion, kung qualitative naman, pwede po na tatlo kayong researcher nandun. Pero as long as kayo na tatlong researcher, meron po kayong guide questions to us.
Okay, sir.
Yun po. Pero depende po yan talaga sa klase ng information na gusto nyong kunin sa mga estudyante. So thank you very much, ma'am. I hope this method na gagamitin mo will provide better insights in your research po para maging publishable po siya later on.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Flor de Lis Timbal from Dinagat. We already have here one question appearing in slido.com. We have from Sir L from Jose Rizal National High School. Doc is asking you about techniques or in the discussion of the result and analysis section.
Okay.
Can you tell us, Doc, like the easiest, for example, especially for those who are new in dealing with research?
Okay, ito po yung I for one din is I also struggled to learn this one, no, nung hindi ko pa na-appreciate ang value ng research. Pero the process po in presenting your results and your discussion or in your analysis, we are already talking to yung traditional thesis niyo. Ito na po yung results and discussion section niyo is actually the chapter 4. Okay, so the first thing po to do is you need to present first the trend in the table or in the graph or in the figure. So kung ito yung kanyang exact na sinabi, as long as na-group na po siya doon sa table, yun po yung i-present nyo muna. Then after presenting kung ano yung sinabi niya, sundan mo po ng tinatawag natin na analysis and inference by the researcher. So, ikaw na po yung mag-analyze kung ano yung nandoon, yung pinakamit ng kanyang sinabi. After putting the analysis and inference, you can also provide practical implications or theoretical implications of the findings. So, pwede ka pong mag-back up doon ng yung practice ng school na siguro naka-attribute doon sa ganun na experience, ano yung practice nung estudyante na naka-attribute sa ganong experience, pwede mo pong ilagay yung practical or theoretical implication. At ang pinakahuli po, when you are trying to discuss the result, see to it that at the end of the discussion, meron po kayong lalagay na according to the study of this study concurs the finding of this. So there should always be a literature so that makita ninyo na meron palang finding na kumontra at hindi kumontra sa resulta ng research na yon. So please, you follow po the pattern. Present first what is all about in that graph or in the figure. Then you analyze and infer. After analyzing and infer, provide implications to the practice. Then put literature review. So yun po yung mabisa pamamaraan on how you discuss the results of the study. Kasi you must also remember po that ang resulta, kaya nga po meron kayong literature review, doon nyo rin kukunin yung i-compare ninyo na literature findings sa findings na meron kayo. Ayun. Okay? So sige
Okay,
po.
thank you, Doc.
Yes, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, we already have many questions appearing here in the chat function of Zoom. Again, we are encouraging our participants that if you would like your question to be catered ahead, you may press the raise hand button. Okay, I am happy that our participants are also providing answers to the questions also of other participants here in the chat function in Zoom. Okay, Doc, we have it as a preparatory kanina. We mentioned it to them that qualitative research or approach is always time consuming. Do you have like a recommended methodology for a neophyte researcher? Like to venture, like are you at least like suggesting to introduce case study first, narrative inquiry, as easier than that of other methodologies? What do you think, Doc?
Okay, kasi po ang paggamit nyo rin po ng mga research design is nakadepende po yun sa availability rin ng respondents ninyo. Kung classroom teacher po kayo at talagang lilima o aapat yung research niyo, hindi nyo po pwedeng gawing quantitative yung research. So dapat you dig deeper, magiging qualitative po siya. Pwede po siyang gamitan ng case study. If naman masyadong marami yung respondents ninyo, pwede nyo pong gamitin ng quantitative. Pero kung ang paggamit po kasi ng qualitative is kung talagang kukunti yung tao na the kakanin vendors in a certain area, lilima lang naman yung kakanin vendors and you would like to get their capture their sanitation practices, lilima naman sila. So instead of quantitative research, qualitative muna para makapture mo pa yung ibang dimension ng kanilang experiences. So, depende po yan. Pero I suggest, if beginner kayo, doon po kayo sa research na available na yung source of data ninyo. At doon nyo po i-frame yung method na gagamitin ninyo. I-take note lang po, kung masyadong maliit yung number ng respondents, equalin nyo na. Pero pag masyadong marami, mag-quanti na kayo. Pero pag gusto nyo naman ng something na interesting, quanti-quali na lang din. Okay? Kaya mixed method po.
Okay, thank you, Doc. We have here now Ma'am Annie Raffles. Ma'am, you're recognized.
Hello, Ma'am Annie.
Hello po. Good evening po, sir. Hello po.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm from DepEd SDO Bulacan. Master teacher po ako. May super amazed po ako dun sa mga bago kong learning, no? Galing po sa mga content po ng lecture ni sir. So thank you so much po. So medyo super amazed din po ako doon sa investigators triangulation. Can you please expound po? Ano po yung paano po siya gagamitin? And can you please give us examples? Thank you po.
Okay po. When you talk of triangulation, ma'am, we are referring to a certain area. When you talk of general research, ang triangulation po kasi is a form of validation. Kung totoo nga ba yung nakukuha natin na responses. Kaya nga siya triangulation is ang source ng data natin hindi lang po galing sa isang group ng student, kundi galing din po siya sa ibang group or they can also provide other information. Ngayon, ma'am, let me clear. Is it you are referring to a qualitative research or one? General research ang pinag-uusapan natin.
Actually, sir, qualitative po. Dun sa, so it means pwede rin po siya sa quantitative, yung investigators triangulation.
Okay. Okay, your investigator triangulation in qualitative research is that you get, for example, ma'am, you interviewed them, they provided you the responses. So as you go along the process of coding, theming, and everything, there's a need for you as a researcher to validate yung mga sinabi nila o hindi. So another form of this one is aside from putting yung kanilang mga direct na sinabi, baka pwede ka pang maglagay ng mga pictures of this group na yun yung ginagawa nila. So that could also triangulate the findings whether it's actually a practice or not. Kasi sa qualitative research naman po, lalong-lalo kung ginamitan mo rin siya ng methodology, hindi lang naman po sa interview mo kukunin yung resulta eh. Kukunin mo rin po yan sa video documentation, sa picture. So yun po yung magiging pamamaraan po ninyo for an investigator triangulation. You can triangulate the findings, you can triangulate the results based on the appropriate process. So, para makita po ninyo na yun po yung sinasabi. Yun po talaga yung practice. Halimbawa, the experience, you are doing a qualitative research on the experiences of yung mga teenage pregnant students noon, no, na mga kwan. So, dinedal po yung kanilang experiences doon. So, aside from getting the responses, you also document. Other source of documenting is kunin mo po yung location nila, yung picture ng kanilang lugar. But of course, you cover their eyes, you cover their faces. So, a way to tell na yun talaga yung kanilang experiences na based from that kind of thing na nangyari. Okay, so another is you'd also do an investigator triangulation if you can compare the result of your study to the previous findings of the study. So katulad noon, may isang researcher na naggumawa ng ganyan na study at ganun din yung kanyang ginawa na resulta. Ikaw ganun din po yung naging resulta ng research mo. So pwede mo po siyang i-triangulate. Kaya yun, lumalabas yung sinasabi mo na this explains the study of this person. This concurs the study of Magulod in 2018 that like this and like that. So ito po yung mga proseso ng triangulation po natin kasi. So triangulation can be in the findings or in the method. But ang importante po kasi ang importanteng thing na kino-consider kasi natin ng triangulation, at least hindi lang iisa yung pinanggalingan ng information or yung reference ng literature mo. Meron din yung mga nagsasabi na parehas kayo ng resulta. So that could be a matter of doing a sort of validation para mas strong po yung resulta ng research natin. Okay, so yun po. Yun po yung personal na sagot ko po, ma'am. Marami pong salamat.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Annie.
Opo, ang galing po. Mas naiintindihan ko po siya.
Okay,
Kasi,
thank you, Ma'am Annie.
Akala ko po, as a quantitative researcher po kasi ako, so I'm more on looking at it as in a form of trying to support your claim. For example, at the beginning of your study, you will have that. And then at the end, you will just support it, yung mga claims mo dun sa mga existing na literature reviews and other studies. So nandun po yun sa findings. So which is similar naman po pala sa qualitative research kung saan kung gusto mo pong maging rich at mas confident ka po sa pagbibigay ng sarili mong understanding at saka mas confident ka na magpaliwanag doon sa subjective views mo about the results, pwede po pala siyang isupport noong triangulation. Okay, thank you so much po, sir.
Okay.
You are
Again, the statement of Ma'am Annie is actually conforming to that of most of the response you are receiving here from our participants. We are getting positive response or feedbacks coming from our participants here in Zoom. I think it would be ideal also for us to cater one question appearing here in Facebook. We have a question from Ma'am Tetayap. I'm Tetay, professor from UP Diliman. What is your take, sir, on political citations? Since you recommended John Creswell for qualitative study, whose primary background and beginning is on quantitative study. What do you think of that, Doc?
Okay, I cited po kanina si Creswell, no? Creswell po kasi siya yung pinakasikat na kwan po natin sa quanti at quali research. Pero it depends naman po kasi marami pong sikat naman na qualitative experts like Patton. If you know the Patton method, yung qualitative method niya, so pwede po yun na maging basis po. Sir, narinig ko kanina political citation, is that it?
Yep, sir. Yep. Sorry, sir. Let me read again the question of Ma'am Tetayap. What is your take on political citations? That's the question, sir.
Okay.
Since you recommended John Creswell.
Yeah. I am not so sure with that political citation po. Pero if we are talking on the references, Glenn Creswell is really yung pinaka dominant. But there are also other experts like Patton who are using the qualitative research method.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have, I guess, one participant who raised his hand a while ago. We have here Japet Nabaira. Sir Japet, you're recognized.
Hello po, sir.
Hello, Sir Japet. I can see your answers to the questions here. Yes, thank you very much for the supplementation. Thank you.
I'm from Aklan State University, a beginner researcher as well. You've mentioned about systematic review, and I've been browsing journals also, and I can also see meta-analyses. So I can see some similarities between the two, but can I ask or probe more about the difference between systematic review and conducting meta-analyses?
Okay, sir. When you talk of systematic review, and of course, they are somewhat synonymous in this nature kasi you are really doing review analysis and systematic review. But definitely, yung mga purpose naman po ng the purpose of these methods are to really identify the research gap for a certain method or variable or problem of inquiry. As to the concept of systematic review, ang usually po kung systematic review, you have 200 to 250 articles to synthesize. So somewhat that in meta-analysis, it is also systematic in nature kasi kailangan mo rin to get 200 or 350 articles para i-describe yung isang variable or study. In my analysis, sir, these are somewhat parehas lang naman ata. It's just in the name. Kasi the purpose there is really to derive conclusion of what has been found and what has not been found about a certain variable or about the problem of inquiry. Yun po. So I hope you can also provide your insights with this.
Okay lang po, sir. Ina-ask ko rin kasi ibang journals, ibang publications, meta-analysis, ibang publications, systematic review. But as I read the content, parang ganun din eh. They are just synthesizing existing studies. Pero thank you po doon. Salamat po.
Thank you, Sir Japet. Thank you.
Okay, again, we have Sir Japet Nabaira. Thank you, sir. Napakarami po ng tanong pero hindi natin alam kung makikater po natin lahat. Siguro mas mainam na maisa-isa natin dito yung mga tanong that are already appearing in slido.com. Doc, can you just filter the questions that are appearing in Slido? And can you provide also questions to the answers rather to the questions that are appearing?
Okay po. Doon po sa question ni Dr. or ni Ma'am Jacqueline ng Ilocos Sur Polytechnic State College, kumusta po kayo sa ISPC? ISPSC, hello po. Ilocano tayo dito. Okay. There's no such a format po for qualitative research kasi all researches naman po we have a standard format lalo na kung i-publish po natin ng IMRAD. Only in the process or flow of results discussion and presentation. Results presentation and discussion. Asli po, mostly kung qualitative yung research natin at i-package natin ito sa isang article, it's more on the description of the words. Okay? Pero pag sa quantitative naman po, of course, may mga tables, may mga graphs po doon. So we just follow the same format, depending na lang po on how we present the findings and how we discuss the information. take note po na kung ang research po natin ay qualitative, meron po tayong madedevelop doon na model or somewhat a modelo about a certain problem of inquiry. Hindi lang po sa quantitative, pero meron din po tayong madedevelop dyan na model based from the responses ng mga respondents natin. Kaya meron silang ginagawa na mga figure 1, the themes of the categories, mga ganun-ganun na part ng isang qualitative research. Okay? Next, Sir Abrian.
Yep, sir.
Yeah,
I think it would be ideal for us, Doc, to cater 3 to 5 questions. Okay?
Okay, sir. Is immersion essential in conducting ethnography or field study? The question is coming from Sir Noel Benavides. Sir, the immersion I am talking about kanina is it's on the process. Sa qualitative, yung nasabi ko kasi na immersion is it's for the personal researcher to familiarize him or her with the data. So since you are talking ethnography and field study po, immersion is really part. Pero it depends upon kung ano yung involvement mo sa group. Kung full participatory or non-participatory po kayo. So kung full participatory sa ethnography or field study, kailangan nyo pong mag-stay sa kanila, you do what they are doing, and record what they are doing. And kung hindi non-participatory naman po, you just go to the community to observe and record. But take note, the community should not be offended the way how you record their experiences or their practices. Or the group of students are not or is not offended with how you put things into observation or into record. Yun po.
Okay. So, Doc, if you notice, observing the questions raised by our participants, we can already assess somewhat the level of our participants in dealing with qualitative research. It seems that most of them are also new to this approach. As we notice, especially sa mga ginatawag natin at sa mga nasa college, we normally use the quantitative approach. So,
yes,
we have here another question, Doc. What do you think, Doc, of the question from Hanilyn B. Paloma? I don't know. I think we were able to answer this question kanina. Yung lessening of the subjective bias of the researchers in making the interpretation and discussion of the data collected. Are we already done with this, Doc?
Yeah, yes, sir. I could read the answer again, yung supplementation ni Sir Japheth kanina na thank you Sir Japheth that we have the new tool now, no? Yung mga gamit natin mga technology using ethnography or that online ethnography through online. So pwede po ang marahil na proseso po nito is they will video the location or through virtual video documentation. So a researcher can gather data. So it may not be necessary na pupunta yung researcher sa field, pero depende yan po sa availability ng resources po ninyo. Kung meron po kayong cellphone or what, or somebody that you have access to that community, pwede po. So kung research po kasi na qualitative at talagang malaliman yung gustong i-dig doon, yun po yung binibigyan natin ng importansya. It's the people's participation to the research project. Okay, sir, how do we lessen the subjective bias of researchers in making interpretation and discussion of the data collected? By Ma'am Hanilyn Paloma. This is another follow-up question. Ma'am Hanilyn, you can lessen the bias, no? If nakuha mo yung transcript of interview of that group, babalik ka ulit sa group nila and to confirm. Kasi meron din pong confirmation doon na yun yung talaga yung sinabi nila. So you can confirm that you can go back to the community, you can go back to the group so that you can confirm it. Again, baka may triangulation na naman doon po. So kanya-kanyang style po kasi yan, kanya-kanyang process. As long as we are guided with the essence of science, So there's no wrong with the process we do kahit quantity o quality research po. Okay, an anonymous said may published book po ba na pwedeng ma-purchase? Ano to? Meron po.
I think about the book you authored, Doc.
Opo, meron po. Wala lang po kasi akong copy, but you can order a copy. Then I can send you, i-course through ko po sa publisher.
Okay.
Recommend best books on qualitative data analysis. You get the ebook. Ebook na lang po, no? For the benefit of everyone, sige po, I will be giving you a copy of the ebook about a research, about quanti-quali, para meron po kayong kopya. So, yun pong ebook na yon ay binebenta nila, pero I got a copy. I will be sharing the copy to everyone.
Okay, that's a good
I
news
will
for
send
sure.
this to the organizer at sila lang po ang mag-email po.
Okay. So I think it would be ideal for us to cater the remaining questions appearing here in Slido. We have one from Chris of USEP Davao City. Is there any ideal qualitative data analysis software and the strangulation? I think you mentioned it in your talk, Doc. Several data analysis software that you are recommending to us. Again, I would like also our participants to revisit the presentation of Dr. Gilbert Magulad. Okay, we have here, my question is, pwede ba gamitin ng values coding in evaluating health risk on ground personnel?
Yes,
Doc, what do you think?
Qualitative data software.
You can use it. Kasi generic naman po yung mga yan generic. Pwedeng gamitin sa lahat ng kwan. Depende na lang po yan kung paano nyo siya i-discuss later on doon sa findings and discussion. Okay.
And lastly, our secondary data effective for policy review. I don't know the context about this question, Doc.
Okay, secondary data effective for policy review. Again, sir, we go back to systematic review kasi secondary data mostly yung nakukuha doon. No, when we download articles about the implementation of a policy, pwede nyo pong tignan. Halimbawa, studies on sustainable policy on health crisis, mga ganon. So, marami pong articles ang pwede nyo makuha doon, marami pong mga theories ang pwede nyo ma-lift doon. Pwede nyo po kayong makapag-come up ng sariling model based from the systematic review you can do, and that could be a basis for a policy review. Okay, so ang sige sir.
Okay lang, sir. Because I would like to give the floor to you also, Dr. Magulad, to give us your concluding words to your talk this evening.
Okay, so marami pong salamat. Napaka-active po in as much that I would like to address all your questions. Kasi medyo limitado rin po ang oras natin. Maraming salamat po. Sir Ibrahim, napaka-productive naman po pala pag gabi ang discussion kaysa sa umaga.
Yep, sir.
Oo. So, thank you very much to the group. Thank you very much to the organizer of this National Training Workshop. I hope I was able to provide some insights for you to do your qualitative research. I wasn't able to provide you a very comprehensive one, but at least I provided you something, and others here in the group already provided their insights. I would like to mention Sir Japit of Nabayra of Aklan State University. Sir, you are very active in the group. Marami pong salamat. Hope to meet you one day. Okay, so maraming salamat po to Dr. Ricky Kibingko, to President Palmani, to all of the organizers. Maraming salamat, and I hope this event, though we are already given tawag sa PRC po, so narinig ko po kanina, so this PICE 1 Philippine Institute of 21st Century Educators is already a credible organization providing professional capability building to all of you. Maraming salamat. God bless us all.
Okay, so again, thank you, Dr. Magulad. That ends our question and answer portion. We will try to reply to some of your queries raised after the end of the session. Again, the email address of Dr. Magulad will be shared to us also in the material that we will forward to you. It's now time for us to give the certificate to Dr. Gilbert C. Magulad. Again, the certificate reads, Dr. Magulad will be shared to us also. Philippine Institute of 21st Century Educators Incorporated awards the Certificate of Recognition to Gilbert C. Magulad Jr., PhD, for imparting his invaluable time, resources, and expertise as resource speaker on the topic Qualitative Research Method, Collecting Evidence, Crafting Analyses, and Communicating Impact during the conduct of National Training Workshop on Educational Research for the 21st Century Researchers and Educators, accorded this 26th day of November 2021 via Zoom video conferencing, live streamed on POMI YouTube channel and PICE I-21 Facebook page. Signed, Ricky A. Kibinko, MATM LPT, Virtual Conference Director, and Emmy John P. Indonila Palmani, MAED LPT, National President of PICE I-21. Again, virtual applause to Dr. Gilbert Pascua Kabilangan Magulad Jr. for making our first day a successful one. We are looking forward to seeing you again, Doc, and God bless. Okay, before we finally close our first session, let me inform you that for you to get the certificate, you are expected first to submit the evaluation form. And we were able to send to you already the link. Tomorrow, we will be having one session and we will meet 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, may I request everyone now to kindly open your camera for a quick photo op with our speaker. Technical team, please take over.
Mama's back.
Okay, so good evening. So we have 5 panels in our room. So just keep smiling. Okay, so for the panel 1, so ready 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, so panel 2, ready 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, so panel 3, ready 1, 2, 3, and smile. So panel 4, ready 1, 2, 3, and smile. And the last panel, 1, 2, 3, and smile.
Okay, stay safe, everyone. See you 10 a.m. tomorrow. God bless and congratulations. Thank you, Doc. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.